maybe I'm weird, but I've always found animatronics, or however you pronounce it, to be kind of creepy. Whether it's like the Chuck E. Cheese stuff. I remember taking my niece down to Disney World for her first time back, a few years ago. And we went to the Small World ride, or It's a Small World After All. If you've been to Disney, you know what I'm talking about. And maybe I'm weird, but my mind would always go to, what if you have to watch over these things when the ride is down, or take night watch and do some rounds in this It's a Small World After All type of stuff. Or the Haunted Mansion is another one. Hey, what's going on, folks? Another episode of Ryan Reviews Everything, and we're here talking about the movie on Peacock that dropped today, Five Nights at Freddy's. And let me just start out by saying this. I enjoy this, just the storyline ever since it came out in 2014. I'm talking about the video game. Ever since the video game series dropped in 2014, I enjoyed it because me personally, maybe I'm weird, but I've always found animatronics, or however you pronounce it, to be kind of creepy. Whether it's like the Chuck E. Cheese stuff. I remember taking my niece down to Disney World for her first time back, a few years ago. And we went to the Small World ride, or It's a Small World After All. If you've been to Disney, you know what I'm talking about. And maybe I'm weird, but my mind would always go to, what if you have to watch over these things when the ride is down, or take night watch and do some rounds in this It's a Small World After All type of stuff. Or the Haunted Mansion is another one. That would creep me the hell out. And so I'm glad that someone came up with that concept ever since the video game dropped. But on to the movie. Just to get it out the way, first off, I did think it was a pretty good movie. And when I say good, I mean it's cool. It did it justice, especially being that making a movie based off a video game can be hit or miss. I still think the way The Last of Us was going has been the best direction so far. But with this type of genre, that's when you take something from a video game, I do feel like this is a pretty solid job in terms of getting it right for the gamers who are familiar with it. Overall, I do think Emma Tammy, she, once again, solid job on keeping it true to the video game. And also Jay Hutcherson definitely did what he had to do, with the script that he was given. But I will say it's probably not as difficult to try to stay true to a video game adaptation when the main draw is, are like, some, possessed electronic creatures. It's not like you have to, make sure you get the casting right in terms of your main character. I mean, because the video game is pretty much is like a first person point of view. So it's not like you have to worry about getting the casting right necessarily. Any talented actor, could be, the protagonist in this movie. And once again, Jay Hutcherson did his thing. Pretty solid job of staying true to the video game storyline or whatnot. And that's just starting out with love. The main thing that I took away from it in a negative sense was I do feel like at times this movie really didn't know where it wanted to go. And what I mean by that is, this movie has been in the works for quite some time. When you look at the trailer, the main draw is clearly these possessed, Chuck E. Cheese like animatronics. But when you watch the movie, it's like I'm watching with anticipation that, okay, let me see what these, possessed creatures, electronic creatures get into. And so I'm thinking it's going to be like some possessed slasher movie with, these things. But it's like, that's what you think is going to happen. But a good chunk of it, or more than a chunk of it, actually is like a psychological thriller. It's, so I feel like the director wanted to put her own spin on it. but I think she put too much of her own spin of. I feel like she put too much of her own spin on it, if that makes sense. It's like, for example, they did a great job of developing the backstory for our main character, Mike, which is played by Jay Hutcherson. Did a great job of, giving you his past, and also more specifically why he gets so. He's a security guard, if you didn't know, but it also gives you some insight on why he feels in particular about abductions of children, right? And so you got that going, and we also found out that his brother was, taken from him at a young age. And the part that really kind of takes away from the movie a little bit is like they just dive a little too deep when it comes to this psychological thriller. It's like, I understand if you want to show me that, I don't know, 2 to 3 times and be like, okay, I get it. He's trying to do some backtracking or backtracing, personally try to solve some cold case thing, to find out what happened to his brother by way of his dreams. And, but they just lean in a little too much of it. It's really like, I want to say, no exaggeration, probably 60 to 65% of the movie is him sleeping and going into the same dream, trying to uncover clues about what really happened, about who took his brother. He knows his brother was abducted, but he's trying to find out who specifically took his brother. So he is sleeping any chance he gets, taking sleeping pills so he could solve this case in his mind and try to have some type of closure, So I felt like that part was a little bit too much if I haven't stressed that already. And the reason why we're all here, the main draw, I felt like we were kind of cheated just a little bit. This movie is like an hour and 49, an hour and 50 minutes. So this is just under 2 hours long of a movie. And with that said, we only see these electronic, animatronic creatures get active like 3 times in the entire movie. At the very beginning, we see the tail end of some security guard getting murdered. Maybe 35, 40 minutes into it, that's the most active you see Freddy and his crew get. That's the most active you see in the 35, 40 minute mark. And then of course, the final 20 minutes or so, we see, the ultimate showdown between Mike, his co-star, as well as just going head to head with these possessed creatures. So you only get it 3 times, so that was kind of a disappointment just for me personally. But I do want to say this: Matthew Lillard is in the movie. If you're not familiar with him, he has been in plenty of stuff, from Hackers, probably more notably from Scream. And if you remember the tail end of Scream, like the big, killer reveal of Scream, it was kind of nostalgic for that with me. We do find out who was kind of this ultimate evil mastermind behind these possessed animals. And we see it's Matthew Lillard. So it was definitely like a huge surprise. So I thought that was dope. So yeah, as I said, overall, I felt like this movie was solid. Once again, I'm not going to say it's outstanding, but I felt like it did a lot of justice. And, I felt like they just could have toned it back with this whole cold case, psychological, reoccurring dream sequence that he kept going through. It's almost like the video game is a success. The storyline is given to you on a silver platter. You don't really need to go, diverge further from what's already given to you on a platter. And I felt like that was the only thing, that was the main negative for me. It was almost like you got a fast break layup, you just got to lay the ball up, but instead you try to get, a little too showboaty with it and you almost missed the layup. So, but yeah, so let me know what you guys thought. If you feel, if you agree or disagree with my opinion, with my take. And hey, love it or hate it, that's my review. And hey, love it or hate it, that's my review. Peace.